So, Scream's back. I guess we should rant about it? Alright, welcome back. It's been a minute since we've had a film review, so we're going to get Scream 7 from 2026. Alright, so this review is going to be both a non-spoiler and spoiler review. I know I've done this once before, so I will give you plenty of notification when the spoiler section hits. So we're taking a look again at Scream 7 from 2026, co-written and directed by Kevin Williamson, the guy who originated the franchise, writing it and then directed by Wes Craven, obviously. So this film follows Sidney Prescott, who is back, and it's taking a look at where her life is now. She has children, as kind of alluded to in previous films. She moved away. So she is away from Woodsboro and just kind of away from everything. We know she wasn't a part of Scream 6, which they refer to as the New York events. And they do address it in the movie, but very much we know it's because of contract disputes and things like that, why she really wasn't in that movie. But yeah, this movie again follows her and her oldest daughter. She has 3 children, as kind of alluded to in previous movies. She has 2 younger sons and a grown daughter. And this movie just kind of shows what it's like for them now that Ghostface is in their lives and trying to stalk Sidney and her daughter. And without spoiling anything from the plot, that's really all I can give you. That's really what the trailers show you and really all I can talk about from a spoiler-free perspective. All right, so overall, my thoughts on this movie, I think it is a good movie. I know this movie is getting a lot of flack online, and it very much feels like a movie that was probably supposed to be something different, and then they had to pivot, which is obviously the real life situation. If you don't know about it, Melissa Barrera got fired due to some political stances she took. The studio fired her, and then Jenna Ortega said, well, I have scheduling conflicts with Wednesday. Lol. I think we all know she just didn't want to be a part of it because Melissa Barrera got fired. That's kind of the unsaid thing that we know actually probably took place. So, yeah, this film then focuses on Sidney, which they do tell a good story here. Ultimately, what this story is about, it's about being a parent and the bond you have with your child, specifically kind of your oldest child. And really a lot of the heart and a lot of the really good things about this movie is between their relationship. Those are the things that I found most engaging, most emotional, most things that I was attracted to in this film. It does help that I am a father of an older teenage, granted, I think the daughter in this one's older than my daughter, but aroundish the same age. So I can very much relate to the Sidney character and kind of what she's going through in regards to just having the relationship with her daughter. How much of your past do you disclose to your kids? At what point of age and what point of time do you start engaging in those kind of more adult conversations about your past and, growing up and things like that? I know this is an exaggerated situation in the film because obviously Sidney has this long line of terrible, terrible things that happen to her and a lot of death, a lot of killing. So that's really not in the norm for a parent's lexicon to go through their history. But I very much enjoyed those elements of the film. Those are the things that resonated with me a lot. That being said, there were some pretty decent kills in this film as well. There were some well done death sequences that were really good. I will say the opening kill sequence wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the most imaginative and the most engaging one that we've seen in the franchise, but it wasn't terrible. It was fine for what it is. And so kills were good. A lot of the side characters were okay. I know there's a lot of casting things that went out in this spoiler-free section. I'm not going to get into them in case you specifically avoided everything Scream 7 related, but they had some fun casting things that they did with this film that I thought played pretty well in the film, that I enjoyed kind of ultimately what ended up being with them. So that was a lot of fun. And I will say the big thing that kind of lets this film down, though, are the ultimate kind of reveal and motivation of the ghost face element of the film. I'm not going to, again, avoiding all spoilers, I'm not going to say ghost face, ghost faces, ghost whatever. Just the element of the ghost face killer, the ultimate kind of reason why it's happening, kind of a letdown for me in this film. I think that's definitely where it falls off, but it doesn't tank the film so hard because of everything that they did to build up to it. And I really enjoyed those elements upon just kind of reflecting on it. I think my initial knee-jerk reaction was, this and this motivation stuff sucks, and like the rest of the movie just wasn't good in comparison to all of that. So upon sitting on it and reflecting on it, I do think this was a pretty solid entry. I definitely don't say it's the bottom barrel of this franchise at all. I still think that's Scream 3. I don't think this one is in that guild, even though Scream 3 is still an okay movie. It's still, it's down around there, but it's not all the way down there. But all right, so in this spoiler-free section, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I did ultimately ended up enjoying this movie, and I thought it was pretty good. Okay, so we are going to go into spoiler territory. Spoilers. Okay, so let's get into this. All right. Hopefully my wife's not listening if she doesn't want to get spoiled. She's right over there. But I'm going to talk about it anyways. So the motivation start with the really bad. The motivation of the Scream killers was terrible. Like, you knew who the killers were so obviously. It was Anna Camp and Ethan Embry. They are two well-notable actors in these bit cameo roles throughout the film. And it's like, well, they're not going to be in this fucking movie if they're not going to be a big deal at the end. So it's like completely screaming at you like these are the fucking killers. And it's like, yeah, of course they are. And that's who they end up being. But really then ultimately the motivation. So Anna Camp is like the best friend neighbors who, like, she had a terrible like abusive relationship and like became an obsessive fan of Sydney's based off of her story in her book that she wrote in part 4, and just like, and then got butthurt because Sydney went away and got out of the spotlight. It's like, I sort of get that there's parallels to the actual stalking stuff that Neve Campbell went through. So it's like, I sort of get it. Like, it's not as awful, I guess, upon reflection, but it's still like pretty weak. Saying like she's just a super obsessive fan that like she needs to reset things for herself so she's no longer obsessed with Neve Campbell's character, Sidney Prescott, and like that's what she needs to do. But then you get to fucking Ethan Embry's character, and it's like they give him no fucking motivation at all. He just happens to be working at the psych ward that she checks herself into, that Anna Camp characters goes to, and it's like, oh, I'm just going to be a killer too. Like, they don't give any reason why he's a part of this, why he would care. Like, there's nothing, absolutely fucking nothing in this film that talks about why that's the case. It's so dumb. Like, I don't fucking get it. So really, that part of the film really almost tanked this for me. Like, I was looking at 2 stars, 2.5 star, like, at least based off of all of that. But upon kind of reflecting on it, like, there's some major standouts. As I said in the non-spoiler section, the relationship between Sydney and her daughter was fantastic. I really loved those interactions that she had with her, and really kind of exploring like why her name is Tatum and like the reasoning why she like went with that, because she was such a great friend and things like that, and talking about like how powerful of a character she was, how engaging she was, how fearless she was. And it's like, that shit like really got to me, because you have those friends growing up that really like impact you to the core, that really, help drive to who you are or who you aspire to be. And you're passing that on to your children. Like that was like really huge for me, and I really liked that stuff. And just like, her full motivation to just try to protect her daughter, and really kind of like the focus of helplessness in certain scenes where like she's too far away, but she's on a video call and like, I can't get there, but I'll walk you through it and things like that. Like all that really connected really well with me. But the big standout, the big awesomeness was the reintroduction of Stu Macher character. That was awesome. Matthew Lillard crushed it in the small bit scenes that he had. Those were fantastic. Makes you want a lot more from him with that character. I say they do still leave it open that the character could actually still be alive. I will say it was sort of a weak plot device to make it an AI thing. Obviously, we knew it was going to be deep fake stuff, and like they're trying to comment on AI, but that feels like way more of an afterthought. Like usually a Scream film is about a film related thing, and this one was kind of that. Like it tried to shoehorn AI as in talking about the AI conversation in film, but that's not really what was kind of driving the motivations of the Scream killer and things like that. It's just like, oh, Ethan Embry's character has a background in AI and he blah, 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 whatever. Like it was super dumb thrown in there. But what they did with it was cool as fuck. Because then you get the other cameos from Laura Metcalf and Scott Foley. David Arquette is in there. Like a lot of cool, like little bit scenes. Like, yeah, it was kind of like rushed at the end, kind of like a boss rush at the end with all these AI version cameos of these characters. But it was still cool to see them. But again, Matthew Lillard super crushed it with what he was given and kind of what he had to do, because he was throughout the film had these moments. So that stuff was really fucking awesome. The other big standouts were the Meeks twins. So it obviously felt like they were kind of forced in there because like they're fan favorites and like they wanted to still bring a part of what they did with 5 and 6 into this one. So bringing them back was a lot of fun. Like they did their thing that they did in the last two movies, where the sister like trying to figure out she's the new Randy, trying to like coming up with the rules and things like that and really figure out who's the killer. But ultimately, like, it's kind of a featured player sort of thing. It's not like a full like lead role like they were in the last two movies. So we don't unfortunately get the core four or a lot of that. And they like do a passing reference to Melissa Rivera's character. They don't really acknowledge her whatsoever. So yeah, but they were a lot of fun. They're always fun characters. They're kind of bickering back and forth and things like that. So at least they gave them something to do. They were there to be the camera crew for Gale Weathers, who is in this film, and she's trying to like reignite her career as being a news reporter and uncovering things like that. And they do some good things, I think, with Gale in this one, kind of showing the shocks of what happened to her in 6, because she got a lot of nerve damage and kind of like Dewey-esque. So yeah, that was pretty good. I think that was pretty good with what they did with her, but they didn't do a lot with her either. They wanted to really focus on Neve Campbell's character, Sidney Prescott, and this was her movie to really stand out and shine. And then the last thing that I'll bring up as kind of a interesting positive kind of mix is Joel McHale playing the husband in this was kind of unique, because he's usually like well known to play like super snarky characters and kind of dicks. And this one, he's like super wholesome, super like stand-up guy-ish. He is the new Dewey. They're kind of like, he's not goofy funny, but he's a police officer, police captain, or whatever he is. Yeah, I think captain. And he takes an absorbent amount of like knife wounds and he ends up living at the end. So it's like, I think they're setting up for him to be the new Dewey. Because yeah, he was very likable and very engaging, but not in the same way Dewey was. But I think they're still going for that vibe. They want that character you feel a lot of sympathy for, who's just like the righteous, good guy. So that's what I think he's meant to be in this one. So yeah, that's why I'm giving this an overall more positive 3 out of 5 rating, is because there's so much good and so much that I liked about it. it just, they fell flat with the Ghostface killer's motivations. Like, oh yeah, and there was like another asylum person who was the first Ghostface. So there's technically 3 Ghostface in this film, but he was very thrown away at the beginning. But yeah, that really hurt this film. And like initially it was like gonna really hurt this film for me. But again, stopping, thinking about it, there's just so much good, so much things that I actually really did like about it that I'm going with that. So, all right, that's a lot. Ranted a lot. So what do you think about the movie? Please like, comment, subscribe if you can. Let me know, did you see the movie? What do you think of it? Where does this rank in the Scream franchise for you? Is it up S tier? Is it down D, F tier, or whatever? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Really appreciate it. All right. Well, hopefully we'll get back on the train of watching movies. Had a little bit of a hiatus there, but I want to try to get out there and hopefully do some more reviews. Maybe do some retro reviews. I think I have a retro series that a friend of mine gave me the name for that I would like to try to start doing. I'm also going to think about doing a series related off of the film viewings I do with my children. We typically do a Saturday night movie night, one with each kid. So I might do kind of a double stacked review of those 2 movies, kind of give you their rating for the film and things like that. So those are things that I'm sort of thinking about trying to get going on the channel. So hopefully that will just mean more content and kind of more engagement and stuff like that. So look for that. Hopefully I'll get motivated to do it. So thank you again. And again, if I don't see you again, bye forever.